As Syria's president continues his crackdown on anti-government protests, human rights groups reported today that more than 1,400 people have been killed so far and 10,000 arrested. But that didn't stop Syrians today from demanding again that Bashar al Assad step down. Wyatt Andrews is just over the border in Turkey.
If the Assad regime thought that last week's brutal killing of protesters would somehow kill the protest, today came the people's defiant answer. Anti-Assad demonstrations broke out in cities nationwide. More than 10,000 people marched in Hama, a city with a history of rebellion, with every protester facing the risk the army could shoot at any time. In the coastal city of Homs, the army did shoot, and hospitals were filled with the injured. Unconfirmed reports said at least 19 were killed, and the regime's brutality stayed very much alive. To learn the extent of the violence, CBS News asked Syrian refugees now sheltered in camps in Turkey to tell us their stories by cell phone video. They asked not to be identified because they fear reprisals, including this woman, who said soldiers terrorized her village last week by raping the women. We saw the horrible and shameless things the army did, she told us, so I ran away to protect my honor. The soldiers burned our home and killed our livestock. This woman says, we don't want Assad anymore. He has spilled blood everywhere. There are 10,000 refugees now in camps inside Turkey, but 10,000 more live outdoors in the forests and olive groves on the Syrian side of the border. When we tried to approach the refugees in the groves,
get on the car.
We were detained by Turkish soldiers. We were released after around 7 hours, but Scott, this shows you how tense the border region has become. The Turks are under increasing pressure to take care of all of these Syrians, and they simply do not want pictures made of refugees living under trees.
Wyatt, I wonder why the Turks are so sensitive about that. What do they fear?
Scott, the only thing I could think of is the Turks are frightened. They're frightened that if Assad does not stop all this brutality, they won't be looking at 10,000 people up in those mountains. They'll be looking at 500,000 Syrians wanting to overrun the border. And they simply want less publicity at this point, not more publicity.
Thank you, Wyatt.